Estados Unidos by way of OC, Los Angeles, and the West Coast. Coming to you, repping Talifas, knocking out agendas of the cancel culture and 50 raps, breaking down doors in Hollywood for La Raza. Unashamed of the creator, because no one is greater.
To another episode of Hood Stories, passing the wire of positivity with me, your host, Big Joe. Today we got a special interview. Today we're here with Maribel Cota, aka Sad Girl. She's got an amazing testimony to tell us today, and I'm gonna just let her take it away. Hi Maribel, how you doing?
Hi, well, first of all, I just want to thank you for the opportunity to be able to share my story. I know that, as growing up, we come to a place where we don't think that we're going to end up, where I ended up at. A lot of times, as kids, we always say, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a lawyer, and somewhere along the lines, in our lives, our story becomes, discouraging, I was raised in El Monte. I was born in Mexicali. And as a little girl, I had dreams and I had hopes and visions that one day, I would become a lawyer or a teacher, and so as a little girl, I remember I would just like put the piles of paper and pretend I was, like correcting other kids,
Yeah, playing school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, those were my dreams and stuff. And I was raised in a poverty mentality. I grew up in the Klingerman apartments where there was nothing but, chaos, drug addicts. The cops were there every day, every night. Something was happening. Either somebody was getting robbed or somebody was getting stabbed. Something, along those lines would happen, every day. And so as a little girl, I grew up, being raised in that atmosphere where you get used to it.
Yeah.
And it becomes the norm for you, and so, in elementary school, I was okay, I was doing okay, and I started, drinking and smoking, doing, smoking weed. We all start off smoking weed or drinking. I used to go to the Frank Wright, the Frank Wright dances and stuff, and so, we started drinking, me and my brother, because I have two older brothers, and then so the one older, me and him would always hang out. We had the same group of friends, and so I started drinking at the Frank Wright dances, and then, little by little, I started progressing. And so while my habits were progressing at home, my dad was an alcoholic. He was a very violent alcoholic where, he wasn't the type of fathers that would drink and just kick back at home and watch TV. As soon as I would hear my dad pull up in the driveway, his music would be so full blast. As soon as I would hear that, my heart would just be like, oh my God, like I gotta deal with this again.
Here we go again.
Here we go again. And so, he would come in, put the music full blast on in the house. He would tip the, tables over for no reason. My dad was just a very angry man. I believe he just had deeper issues than what we knew, what he would share. Yeah. And he would take it out on my mom. He was very ugly towards my mom. I seen him at one time. He literally spit in her face, and it just like got me angry. I was really angry, and when I would see that, I said, you know what? Never. I'm never gonna let no man treat me like that. And I would have mixed emotions, like at times I would be like, Mom, why don't you leave this man? And then at times when my dad would follow us, because my mom did, she tried to leave my dad many times. She would pack up our bags and she would be like, come on, let's go. I remember one time she took us all the way to Ensenada, just to run from this man, you know, which was my father. And he followed us. He found us. No matter where we tried to hide, he would find us. You know, but I loved my dad. I loved him, and he loved us. You know, it was just the demons inside of him that he couldn't control, and
That
he
eternal
couldn't,
fight. Yeah.
that eternal fight that he had within, and so, but he was a loving father towards us, you know, until we got older. I actually, you know, got a couple of his, you know, punches at one point in time, and there was this one time where he just punched my stomach out, and I just lost all my air. And so I became a very angry person, you know, but I also had a lot of pride. I was not going to allow my father to see me cry, you know.
Be strong.
I was going to
Be
be
strong.
strong, like you are not going to get the privilege to see me cry, you know. And so I just held everything in, and I learned how not to show any emotions. I learned how not to, you know, show anybody any love or you know, any emotions, because I said, you know what, nobody's going to treat me like this. Yeah, so by the age of 15, I got pregnant. You know, here I am pregnant. And so, but the same time when I got pregnant, my dad had stopped drinking. My dad was a functioning alcoholic. Even though he used to work, he was still functioning alcoholic, where his boss paid for him to go to a hospital, Greater Almani Hospital in Almani, and it actually worked. You know, it actually worked. And
Sounds like when he was sober, he was a good man. Like
Yes.
good enough that his boss, you know, said, "Hey, let me
Yes.
help you out. Let me get you through rehab or whatever it was." You
Yeah.
know. Let me ask you a question.
okay.
Like going back on time frames, like how old would you say you were when you first started like drinking and smoking? What age would you say?
I would say like 11, we started, you know, like smoking, and then 12, like, you know, drinking. So by the age of 15, I had already progressed to heroin.
Okay, by
Yeah,
15.
so I was
Okay,
already
okay.
smoking dust, you know, smoking super cools, taking acid. So, you know, and you have to remember, like both of my parents, they were working parents. So I basically raised myself. So by the age of 15, I thought I was old already.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't know how young I was at that point and at that time. I thought I was old already. So yeah, by 15, I was already dabbling in heroin. But then I got pregnant. So when I got pregnant, I stopped doing everything. I stopped smoking, drinking. I stopped doing everything. And I really didn't want my son. You know, I still wanted to party. I didn't want no kids. You know, I was out there having fun, and so I was trying to find, you know, how do I get an abortion? You know, how do I go to this, you know, place where these other girls were talking about how they got rid of their kids? You know, how can I go about doing this? And I couldn't, and God just didn't allow me to find resources to do it. You know?
Do that, huh? Like, would you say like your like drinking and drug use and then all that? Would you say all that was an escape from the way your father was? Like,
Oh, yeah.
was that 100%?
Most definitely.
Yeah.
You know, just being at home, it was like, you know, it wasn't comfortable. It was just like an escape for me, most definitely. Yeah.
So growing up in the neighborhood, right there, you said in Monte, right, where you grew up.
Yeah.
So like, were you ever like led into getting to the gang life and being from